For 3 years, trading didn't feel like a journey. It felt like a test I kept failing. Not dramatically, not in a way that made a good story, just slowly, quietly, one loss at a time, one reset at a time, one moment of thinking maybe I'm just not built for this. And that's the part people don't talk about. Losing for a long time doesn't feel heroic. It feels embarrassing. It feels lonely. It feels like you're putting effort into something that isn't giving anything back. You don't post about it. You don't talk about it. You just keep showing up and quietly questioning yourself. If you've ever been in that phase, hit the like button. Not because it changes anything, but because it means you're still here. And staying is already harder than people admit. When I first started trading, I thought losing meant I was doing something wrong technically. Bad strategy, bad entries, not enough indicators, not enough knowledge. So I did what most people do. I studied harder. I watched more videos. I added more tools. I learned new concepts. I felt productive every day. My results didn't change. Looking back, I wasn't trading. I was preparing to trade forever. Every loss sent me back to learning mode. Every drawdown convinced me I wasn't ready yet. I told myself I just needed one more piece of information before things would click. That lie cost me years. I remember one specific night. I was staring at my screen after another losing session. Nothing catastrophic, just enough losses to feel defeated. I closed the charts and thought something most traders are scared to admit. What if this just isn't for me? Not because I didn't want it, but because I was tired of feeling like effort didn't matter. Tired of feeling behind? Tired of watching people online talk about success while I felt stuck repeating the same mistakes. That thought doesn't show up when you're brand new. It shows up when you've been at it long enough to care deeply, but not long enough to see results. That's the most dangerous point in the journey. For a long time, I thought the problem was that I hadn't found the right strategy yet. In reality, I was changing strategies every time things got uncomfortable. I never stayed with anything long enough for it to work statistically. I was playing short seasons and expecting long-term results. I want to tell you a story that sums up those 3 years perfectly. I once had a strategy that worked for about 2 weeks straight. Clean entries, good risk management, consistent execution. I felt confident for the first time in a long time. Then I hit a losing streak. Not even a big one. Just enough to shake me. Instead of sticking with it, I abandoned it immediately. I told myself the edge was gone. I moved on to something else. A month later, I saw another trader using the same strategy and doing fine. That's when it hit me. The strategy didn't fail. I did. But at the time, I didn't have the maturity to accept that. It was easier to believe the market changed than to admit I couldn't tolerate discomfort. Most traders don't fail because they're bad at analysis. They fail because they can't sit through uncertainty without changing something. That was me for 3 years. Another thing that made those years brutal was comparison. I'd see people posting wins, talking about breakthroughs, acting like trading finally made sense for them. And I'd look at my own results and feel behind. What I didn't realize then was that I was comparing my real process to other people's edited outcomes. I didn't see their flat months, their boredom, their doubt, just the highlight. That comparison added pressure. Pressure made me rush. Rushing made me sloppy. Sloppy behavior led to losses, and the cycle kept going. There was also ego involved. I didn't want to trade small. I didn't want to slow down. I didn't want to admit I wasn't ready for size. I wanted trading to change my life quickly because I felt like I was running out of time. That urgency showed up in my behavior. Overtrading, forcing setups, trading when I shouldn't have, trying to make something happen instead of waiting. And the market punished that every time. What made it worse was that I wasn't blowing accounts dramatically. That almost would have been easier. Instead, I was just hovering. Up a little, down a little. Always feeling like I was close. Always telling myself next month would be different. That middle ground is exhausting. It's where hope keeps you stuck. If this sounds familiar, comment "still grinding." Not because grinding is the goal, but because acknowledging where you are matters. By the end of the third year, I wasn't excited about trading anymore. I wasn't scared of it either. I was just tired. Tired of thinking. Tired of second guessing. Tired of feeling like I was always one adjustment away from success. And that's when something interesting happened. I stopped trying to get better. Not in a lazy way, in a desperate honesty way. I stopped trying to optimize. I stopped trying to outsmart the market. I stopped trying to feel confident. I just wanted trading to stop feeling heavy. That shift didn't feel like a breakthrough, it felt like giving up control. And that's where the 1 week started. If you know someone who's been trading for a long time and feels quietly stuck, share this video with them to let them know they're not alone in this phase. That 1 week didn't start with confidence, it didn't start with motivation, it started with exhaustion. Not the kind of exhaustion that makes you quit loudly, the quiet kind, the kind where you don't have the energy to pretend anymore, the kind where you stop trying to impress yourself. I remember sitting down at my desk that Monday and feeling almost indifferent. Not hopeful, not excited, just tired of fighting. And for the first time in years, I wasn't trying to make trading work. I was trying to make trading simple enough that I couldn't mess it up. That distinction matters. For 3 years, I had been asking, how can I improve? That week, the question changed to how can I stop hurting myself? I stripped everything down. One market, one setup, one time window, fixed risk, no exceptions, no creativity, no trying to be clever. I didn't do this because I believed it would finally work. I did it because I didn't trust myself anymore, and that was the breakthrough. Most traders think confidence comes before discipline. In reality, discipline often comes from admitting you don't trust your impulses. That week, I treated myself like a liability. I didn't trade more to make up for lost time. I traded less. I didn't chase opportunities. I waited. I didn't adjust mid-trade. I let things play out. I didn't watch the chart obsessively. I checked, executed, and walked away. And something strange happened. Trading felt lighter, not profitable yet, just lighter. Like I wasn't carrying the weight of every outcome anymore. I want to tell you about the first trade that week. It wasn't a big win. It wasn't even clean. It was just a normal trade that followed the rules and closed without me interfering. When it ended, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Relief. Not relief that I made money. Relief that I didn't sabotage myself. That sounds small, but it mattered more than any profit. For years, every trade felt like a test of who I was. That week, trades felt like tasks. Do this, manage this, close this, move on. No identity attached. Another thing that changed that week was how I handled losses. I took a loss early in the week. Normally, that would have triggered a spiral, self-talk, analysis, adjustment. That time, I just logged it and stopped trading for the session. I remember standing up from my desk and thinking, this feels wrong. It felt lazy, it felt unproductive, it felt like I was missing opportunities. But nothing bad happened. The market didn't care that I stepped away. Opportunities came and went, and for the first time, I didn't feel like I had to catch them all. That was new. Mid-week, something clicked that I had never fully understood before. The goal of trading isn't to win today, it's to survive today without doing damage. Once that idea settled in, everything slowed down. My heart rate, my thinking, my decisions. I wasn't trying to prove anything to myself or the market. I was just following instructions I had already decided on. And here's the important part. That week wasn't green because I suddenly became skilled. It was green because I stopped making things worse. Most traders think improvement means adding skill. Sometimes improvement means removing harm. I started noticing something else too. I wasn't tired after trading sessions. Normally, I'd feel mentally drained, like I'd been in a fight. That week, trading ended and my day continued. No emotional hangover, no replaying trades in my head. That's when I realized how much energy emotional trading had been costing me. If this part of the story feels familiar, like the video, not because it's inspiring, but because it's honest. Most breakthroughs don't feel dramatic. They feel quiet. By Thursday, I noticed something else. I wasn't thinking about money as much. I wasn't calculating how much I could make if things kept going well. I wasn't imagining the future. I was focused on the next correct action. That focus was new. For years, trading had been about outcome. That week, it became about behavior, and behavior is something you can control. I had a conversation with someone that Friday that I'll never forget. They asked how trading was going. Normally, I'd either downplay it or exaggerate it. That time, I said something simple. It feels boring. They laughed, but I was serious. And inside, I knew boring was the point. That week didn't change my career because of the money I made. It changed my career because it showed me what trading was supposed to feel like. Not exciting, not stressful, not dramatic. Neutral. And if you've ever felt like trading only works when you're calm and falls apart when you're emotional, comment. That's it. That awareness is everything. That 1 week couldn't have happened earlier. And that's the part most people misunderstand. For a long time, I told myself if I had just learned this sooner, everything would have changed sooner. But that's not true. I didn't need better information. I needed to become the kind of person who could actually use the information I already had. Those 3 losing years weren't wasted. They were conditioning. They stripped away illusions. They humbled expectations. They exposed patterns. They showed me exactly how I reacted under pressure. And until I had seen those reactions enough times, I couldn't stop them. Early on, I still believed I could outthink the market. I still believed effort could replace patience. I still believed confidence came from winning. That week only happened after those beliefs collapsed. There's a moment every trader reaches where they realize something uncomfortable. The market isn't the problem, and the strategy isn't the problem. You are. Not in a self-hating way, in a liberating way. Because once you accept that you are the variable, you can design around yourself instead of fighting yourself. For 3 years, I kept trying to become a better trader. In that 1 week, I stopped trying to become anything. I just followed instructions. That's the shift. I want to tell you a story that explains this perfectly. I knew a trader who copied a profitable system from someone else. Same rules, same entries, same exits. On paper, it should have worked, but it didn't. He kept losing. Eventually, the original trader sat down with him and watched him trade. What he saw wasn't bad strategy. It was small deviations, slight hesitations, early exits, late entries, tiny emotional decisions that added up. The system wasn't failing, the execution was. That's when it clicked for him. Systems don't make traders profitable. Traders make systems work. That 1 week worked because I finally stopped interfering. Another reason it couldn't have happened earlier is because I hadn't yet been punished enough for my bad habits. That sounds harsh, but it's true. Every time I bent a rule and got away with it, I reinforced the wrong behavior. Every time I sized up and won, I taught myself that discipline was optional. The market let me survive just long enough to keep those habits alive. Those 3 years slowly removed that illusion. Every shortcut eventually failed. Every impulsive win was paid back with interest. Eventually, I stopped trusting myself, and ironically, that lack of self-trust was the turning point. Most people think confidence is the key to trading. It's not. Self-awareness is. Confidence without structure leads to risk-taking. Awareness without ego leads to restraint. That week worked because I no longer believed I was special. I believed I was predictable, and predictable people can be managed. I managed myself the way a firm manages traders, with limits, with rules, with consequences, not with motivation speeches. Another thing the 3 years taught me was patience without expectation. Before, patience was forced. I'd wait, but I'd be tense, watching, counting, expecting. That kind of patience isn't patience, it's delayed impatience. That week I waited without expectation. If nothing showed up, nothing showed up. That emotional neutrality changed everything. It's hard to explain how powerful that is until you feel it. I remember a day that week where no setup appeared during my trading window. Old me would have forced something. That day I closed the platform and went on with my day. Nothing bad happened. That's when I realized how much pressure I'd been carrying unnecessarily. If you're watching this and thinking, I know what to do, but I don't trust myself to do it consistently, you're closer than you think. That awareness usually comes right before change. Pause for a second and like the video if this part of the story is resonating. Not as encouragement, as recognition. Another reason the 1 week changed everything is because it rewired how I measured success. Before, success was profit. Green days, equity curves, that made every loss feel like failure. That week, success was behavior. Did I follow my rules? Did I stop when I was supposed to? Did I avoid forcing trades? That shift removed pressure instantly. And here's the irony. Once I stopped chasing profit, profit showed up more consistently. Not explosively, not dramatically, but sustainably. That's the kind of change that actually lasts. The 3 years were necessary because they burned out my need for excitement. They exhausted my ego. They humbled my expectations. They made me ready to trade like a professional instead of a dreamer. If that sounds harsh, it's because trading is honest. It doesn't care about potential. It cares about behavior. The reason that 1 week changed my career forever wasn't because it made me money. It was because it showed me a version of trading I could actually sustain, a version that didn't depend on motivation, confidence, or belief, a version that worked even when I felt tired, uncertain, or indifferent. That's what most traders are missing. They're trying to build a trading career on emotions, on excitement, on hope, on confidence. Those things come and go. Structure stays. If you want your own 1 week moment, it won't come from discovering something new. It will come from removing what's hurting you. Start by asking yourself a simple question. What do I keep doing that makes trading heavier than it needs to be? For some people, it's overtrading. For others, it's too much size. For others, it's watching the chart constantly. For others, it's chasing validation. You don't need to fix everything. You need to remove the one thing that keeps triggering bad behavior. That's where change starts. Another important takeaway is this: you can't shortcut emotional maturity, but you can accelerate awareness. The 3 years weren't about learning setups, they were about learning myself, my impulses, my reactions, my limits. That learning can't be skipped, but it can be approached intentionally instead of accidentally. If you treat every mistake as data instead of failure, progress speeds up. If you stop trying to feel confident and start trying to be consistent, pressure drops. If you stop asking how much can I make and start asking how little can I lose, survival improves. Those shifts don't sound exciting, but they change everything. One of the biggest lies in trading is that breakthroughs are explosive. They're not. They're quiet. They feel like relief. They feel like less effort, not more. When trading finally works, it doesn't feel like you leveled up. It feels like you stopped fighting. That's how you know it's real. Before we wrap this up, if this story helped you see your own journey differently, share this video with someone who's been grinding quietly and questioning themselves. A lot of traders don't need motivation. They need reassurance that this phase isn't pointless. And if you want more content like this that focuses on longevity, discipline, and clarity instead of hype, subscribe. This channel is about staying in the game long enough for things to finally click. I'll leave you with this. 3 years of losing didn't make me successful. 1 week didn't make me rich. But that 1 week showed me who I needed to be to last. And once you see that version of yourself, you don't unsee it. That's when trading stops being a struggle and starts being a profession. If you're still here, you're closer than you think.